Watch your dog when she settles down for the night. She does not simply lie down. She circles. Twice, 3 times, sometimes 7 times. She turns slowly, examining the ground beneath her, often pawing at the bedding or carpet, occasionally pausing as if listening for something only she can hear. Then she lowers herself with care, curls into a precise shape with her nose tucked toward her tail, and breathes out a long sigh of completion. This behavior, which exists in nearly every domestic dog on Earth, is not a quirk. It is not a sign of confusion or anxiety. It is a ritual that began approximately 40 million years ago, before recognizable wolves, before recognizable canines, before even the modern shape of the African continent. Your dog is remembering a world she has never seen. The story begins on the ancient continent that scientists now call Pangaea Ultima, in the late Eocene epoch. The earliest direct ancestors of all modern canines were small forest-dwelling carnivores called Hesperocyanina. These creatures, about the size of a modern fox, were prey to larger predators of their era. They could not afford to lie down anywhere casually. Before resting, they performed a ritual that natural selection refined over millions of generations into precise behavioral protocol. They circled their chosen spot to flatten any tall grass that might be hiding venomous snakes, biting insects, or sharp debris that could injure them during sleep. They circled to compress the earth beneath them into a slight depression that would conform to their body shape and hold heat throughout the cold nights. They circled, finally, to position themselves with their nose pointing in the direction of the prevailing wind so they could smell any predator approaching during the deepest hours of sleep. The behavior persisted through every evolutionary transformation that followed. As Hesperocyanina gave way to Borophagini, the bone-crushing dogs of the Miocene period 12 to 20 million years ago, the circling ritual continued. As Borophagini gave way to the Canini tribe, the direct ancestors of modern wolves, coyotes, and foxes, the ritual continued. As the Canini gave way to Canis lupus, the gray wolf from which all domestic dogs descend, the ritual continued. The ancestors of your golden retriever, your Labrador, your poodle, your Chihuahua, performed this exact same circling protocol every single night for tens of millions of years. The behavioral pathway is encoded so deeply in the canine genome that researchers at Cornell University in 2017 identified the specific neural circuit that triggers the circling response. The circuit activates regardless of whether the dog has ever encountered tall grass, venomous snakes, or open wilderness in her entire life. The scientific community took the ritual seriously enough to design a controlled experiment in 2014 at the University of Bristol. Researchers observed 62 domestic dogs of various breeds across multiple environments. They documented the circling behavior in 3 distinct conditions. The first condition was a smooth carpeted floor in a controlled indoor environment. The second condition was an outdoor grassy area. The third condition was a hardwood floor with no bedding or surface variation. Dogs in all 3 conditions performed the circling ritual with statistically equivalent frequency. The pattern was not triggered by surface texture, terrain, or temperature. It was triggered by the simple act of preparing to sleep. The ritual was, in the precise language of the published study, evolutionarily fossilized within the canine nervous system itself. There is a deeper layer to this story that the Bristol researchers uncovered. When they analyzed the precise direction in which dogs eventually positioned their bodies, they found that approximately 70% of dogs settled with their bodies aligned on a north-south magnetic axis. The dogs were responding to Earth's magnetic field. This finding, which had been quietly suggested by Czech researchers in earlier studies, suggests that the ancient circling ritual involves not just spatial awareness but magnetic awareness. Your dog, before settling down, is calibrating her position relative to the planetary magnetic field, just as her ancestors did when navigating across vast ancient landscapes where landmarks were scarce and survival depended on remembering the direction of safety, water, and prey. The compass in her cells is older than human consciousness itself. There is, however, an important warning that veterinary scientists want every dog owner to understand. While the circling ritual is normal, healthy, and evolutionarily ancient, sudden changes in this behavior can be the earliest sign of significant health problems. A dog that has always circled 3 times and suddenly circles 8 or 9 times may be experiencing arthritic pain in her joints that makes finding a comfortable position increasingly difficult. A dog that has always settled quickly and suddenly takes 10 or 15 minutes of circling before lying down may be developing canine cognitive dysfunction, sometimes called dog dementia. A dog that previously circled and now collapses without ritual may have lost the energy or coordination to perform the ancient sequence at all. Pay attention to your dog's circling pattern. Changes in this ritual are often the first observable signs of conditions that veterinarians can treat if caught early. The next time you watch your dog turn 3 times before lying down at the foot of your bed, take a moment to recognize what you are witnessing. You are watching a ritual older than the species itself. You are watching 40 million years of survival memory encoded in muscle, nerve, and ancient instinct. You are watching the savanna where your dog has never been, the grasslands she has never crossed, the predators she has never escaped. You are watching the deep continuity of life on Earth expressing itself in your living room. Honor the ritual. Notice when it changes. And remember that the small creature curled at your feet carries within her body a story that began before mammals walked upright, before primates climbed down from trees, before any human ever dreamed of domesticating a wolf. Your dog is older than you imagine. Take care of her with the reverence such ancient companionship deserves.